point of any kind of piece of content that I want to put out is to provide some kind of value, whether it's humor, whether it's motivation, whether it's fun and good vibes, whether it's a fitness tip, whatever it is. The reason why I got into that was because somebody was able to get on a microphone and a camera and ultimately change my life. What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of the Morning Takeaway Podcast, aka the Inside Influence Podcast. I'm coming at you here in my dad's basement. Yes, that is correct. I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm actually transferring to an Airbnb tomorrow where I'm going to be here as part of this nomad lifestyle for the next, 2 months until the middle of November before I venture back out to California. But I was on a run the other day, and I just had this really overwhelming takeaway that I wanted to bring to you on the podcast. And again, the quote-unquote podcast is a totally different rant, but it's really just the takeaways that come from the deep thoughts that I have during exercise. And it's kind of just stemmed from this. I used to do it on short-form stories on Instagram or whatever it was, and I don't know, I have a deep passion to elaborate on these kinds of things. And if you follow me on Instagram, you heard this already, but maybe I'll be able to say something else that kind of expands on the idea. And I don't think it's anything short of, it's beneficial to put it out more and more, because who knows if there was one person that didn't hear it on Instagram that might hear it here. And that's kind of the point of this topic, of this podcast, on this episode. So, but without yip-yapping on for too long before we get into it, I'm just gonna get into it. I don't know why I'm sitting here puddling around, but basically I was on a run and I was listening to this really powerful podcast. It's Jay Shetty and Mel Robbins. They had a podcast together. And I was listening to it, and that podcast in itself has nothing to do with the thought that I was having. Rather, when I was listening to it, I was like, oh my gosh, like, people need to hear this. And I started thinking of people that I thought it would impact, and maybe somebody that's in a dark place that I could send it to. And on my run, I usually don't run with my phone out, but I'm like on my phone running with my phone out like this, sending it to people, and just and you never know if they're gonna open it or not, but at least it's there. And that's where this takeaway came from. The idea of using social media constructively. And I know that sounds funny to say coming from someone who is pretty much, my life is social media, right? And I do hope that if you follow me, you get that sense of value, whether it's, even if it's just a day in the life kind of routine that I'm putting out on my Instagram. Well, if you read the caption, I'm trying to provide some kind of value, and there's value in the day in the life. Like, well, what does Nick do after he runs 10 miles and lifts really heavy, right? Like, if there's somebody out there that needs to understand like what to do with their body, like, hopefully that's valuable to you, and with any of that point aside, I got to thinking, like, me in the world that I live in is all social media oriented. And my goal in life is to help people understand that they are worthy of leaving this place better than they found it. And what do I mean by that? I mean that everyone has the capability to change somebody else's life. And if you can change one life, you never know what that life will change. And ultimately, we can make an impact on this world, right? And I kind of went down a little rabbit hole there, but I got to, thinking on that idea more and more on this run. And I was like, wow, like, okay, my life's social media, but what is social media built on? Social media, if you did not know, and if you didn't know, you'll start noticing on your For You page on any platform, social media is built so that whatever content you like you comment on, you subscribe to, you send, you save, whatever you engage with, that specific platform is going to recognize what you are gravitating towards, right? And it's going to start feed you more and more and more of that kind of content. Now, why is that? Well, it's because each app is competing against each other. They're all competitors, right? They want somebody to stay on their app the longest. And that is besides the point, but it's also the point. The point is this: you get to decide what kind of content you take in. And for me, the point of any kind of piece of content that I want to put out is to provide some kind of value, whether it's humor, whether it's motivation, whether it's fun and good vibes, whether it's a fitness tip, whatever it is. But the reason why I got into that was because somebody was able to get on a microphone and a camera and ultimately change my life. I remember being in the dark. I remember the specific video that I listened to. It was Eric Thomas. Before you want to succeed, or you must want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. It was that speech of his. It was an hour-long law of attraction video, probably a decade ago. But it always stuck with me, and when I was in this deep, dark place in life of like depression and not knowing where I want to go, and I think we can all relate to that in a sense, but I say that because the point of this episode is, if there is some kind of content that you come across that really inspires you, that hits you a certain way. We all know that feeling when we're listening to some kind of motivation and you're like, oh my gosh, that resonates with me so much. Somebody tells a story and you're like, oh my gosh, that is my life. Well, when you get that feeling and maybe you feel like deep down, you're like, oh my gosh, my so-and-so could really use hearing that right now. Well, you were hearing that for a specific reason. And it's my challenge to you to send that piece of content out and to send it to whoever that is. Because when I say to use social media constructively, that ultimately means that if you send that one video to somebody that might need it, whether they watch the whole thing or not, if they open that video, let's say they haven't been on YouTube in a while, and they open that video, well, the next time that they log on to YouTube, it's going to recognize, hey, we should spit some more content that's like that video that they just opened up to try to get them to stay on the app. So you never know what kind of rabbit hole you could spark simply by sending a piece of inspiration, motivation, something funny, whatever it is, to someone. And you know, and the way I worded it on Instagram was something to the extent of, when that happens, you ultimately don't know if you are you could be changing someone's life by sending them just one piece of content. Because the next time they log into that app and they go down, maybe something inside them says, hey, I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole of watching these minute videos or 4-minute videos or hour-long videos while I'm in the car, and turn my car into a university on wheels. That's personally what I do. I like to listen to podcasts and motivation when I'm in the car. But the power and tool of social media can be so powerful if we're using it the right way, and ultimately for ourselves and others. And I think it's just such a powerful message in the idea that you truly could have that much of an impact on someone just by sending a piece of content. And ultimately, you know, you truly never know what kind of impact you could have on someone. And that's, if you read I posted in some orange shorts on the beach the other day in South Carolina, and it was my tagline of "Don't forget to smile." And it's something as simple as that, in the smile as well, that you truly never know what kind of impact a simple smile could have on somebody else's day. Somebody could be having the worst day ever at a Starbucks. You just smile at them and it might rub them the right way to say, wow, somebody cares. Or, wow, like that person is full of joy, and they felt that joy, right? And I don't know, it's just something super powerful to me. And again, I tell you all of this because I've been in that place, and I can relate to that place of feeling like there was no way out, and ultimately being able to connect with the idea that every time I wake up and open my eyes, I have the choice to make the day what I want it to be. And there's so much power in that one decision. We could hit the snooze button on life and keep delaying it each 10 minutes, and those 10 minutes of sleep not doing anything for us, and then we're groggy and lazy going through our day. Or we could just get up and let's start the day of life, and whether we like it or not. And again, I'm going down a whole different rabbit hole, but I'm picturing exactly where I was, and it was that one video, and what do you know? Everything on my pages started to kind of bombard me with this positivity, and ultimately kind of lead me to my mindset today, and taking bits and pieces and breaking it down. And now here I am on a microphone and a camera, hoping that if there's just one of you that wants to take a piece, a takeaway, and apply it to your own life, apply it to someone else, then that's super powerful, and the compound effect can live on. So that is really all I have for you today. I know it might be a little bit redundant if you've seen it on my Instagram and now you're seeing it here, but hopefully, again, there's maybe another little piece. I know you're probably wondering too on like my story and all of that. And again, I think I've told you in the past, there's going to be a time that I come out with my whole like kind of story and whatever, but transparently, there's a couple pieces that have to fall into place so that I can talk about it on social media and out in the public. But it'll be a pretty cool day when I do. It'll be fun. It'll be vulnerable, and it's going to be, I guess it'll be, I don't know, surprising. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to talk about and have conversations with you all on. So we're all human. We all have our own story, and that is why you are unique. That is why you bring so much to the world that the world cannot give out unless it has you, because there is only one of you. And wow, that just got really deep, but I mean it. And I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you tuning in every week to all my crazy videos, to the energy. I know there's a balance with my podcast, and I get super deep, and then there's a super goofy, crazy me that's dancing around and loving life with I love life when I'm doing the podcast too, but loving life while I'm exercising. The endorphins just hit me a little different. But that is all I have for you today. Normally I would end this thing with a random question, but I don't have my computer in front of me. I am actually traveling to the Airbnb. I think I said that at the beginning of the podcast. Anyways, I'm just talking to myself now. I hope I am not wasting your time. If you did find some kind of value in this, please share it with somebody that you think it might impact. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you're the first one to see my videos on the tube of the U with me. I'll see you next time. Have an awesome freaking day, and don't forget to smile.